Around a month ago, we did a free agent edition of NHL Over or Under where you guys gave me a player who was set to become a free agent and a cap hit, and in that video I tried to predict if those players would sign for over or under the cap hit that you guys commented. Now, over a month later, almost every single player we talked about in that video has since signed a new contract, so I thought today it would be fun to look back at that video and kind of see how my predictions have aged. If you guys want to see more videos like this where I look back at some of my older predictions, especially throughout the summer where there isn't really a whole lot going on, I think this format could work. So let me know if you guys want to see more of this. Leave a like on the video. That's the best way to let me know that you enjoyed. And if this is your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all year round, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're getting super close to 80,000. So with that all being said, let's go ahead and start off. The first comment we had was from Awesome Zach, who said Sam Reinhart 8 years 11.5 mil. We did get this one right. I took the under, and Sam Reinhart ended up signing an 8-year $69 million deal with the Florida Panthers, a cap hit of 8.625 mil a season. Looking back, this one was pretty easy. 11.5 mil a season is a lot, although if Sam Reinhart was going to leave Florida, I think everybody knew it was probably going to take a massive offer to get him to sign somewhere else. So I don't think that number, 11.5 mil a season, was completely out of the realm of possibilities for Sam Reinhart, especially with the salary cap going up. And if any other team other than Florida signed Sam Reinhart, they wouldn't have been able to give him that 8th year. So Sam Reinhart likely would have commanded a higher cap hit on a 7-year deal as opposed to an 8-year deal. But ultimately, Reinhart ended up re-signing with the Florida Panthers, which I think was the right decision for him. He's already had so much success in Florida in just a few years. Why would he want to leave? Reinhart and Barkov are one of the best duos in the entire NHL. Florida is obviously a beautiful place to live, warm weather all year round. You have no state income tax. You have to imagine it was a very easy decision for Sam Reinhart to re-sign in Florida, and I think Florida got him back at a very good price. Moving on now to the next comment. This one came from a hockey fan at 1083, who said Dakota Joshua 4.125 mil. In my opinion, one of the most underrated players in the league. With how he performed throughout this past season, I could see a world where he's worth this much. I took the under on this one as well, so we're 2 for 2 so far, as Dakota Joshua ended up signing a 4-year $13 million deal to stay in Vancouver, a cap hit of 3.25 mil per season, which I think is a very fair number for Dakota Joshua, who's coming off of the best season of his career. You do have to be a little cautious when it comes to players who put up career highs in a contract year like Dakota Joshua did. He finished this past season with a shooting percentage of 21.4%. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that isn't sustainable and that there's likely some regression coming for Dakota Joshua when it comes to his goal scoring. But offensive production aside, Dakota Joshua is still a very productive third line forward, plays a strong two-way game. He's very physical. He's great on the penalty kill as well. So even if Dakota Joshua's finishing comes back down to earth, which again, I'm expecting it to, and he finishes around a 12 to 15 goal pace as opposed to scoring at a 20 plus goal pace, I think this contract is still going to be fine for the Vancouver Canucks because again, he's a guy who really impacts the game in a lot of other areas as well. The next comment we have came from Mikey Schwarz, who said Jake Guentzel $8 million for 6 years. I took the over here, so doing pretty well so far, 3 for 3. After trading away a draft pick to acquire his rights before July 1st, Tampa Bay would end up signing Jake Guentzel to a 7-year deal worth $63 million. That is a cap hit of 9 mil per season. Leading up to free agency, it was rumored that the Carolina Hurricanes were offering Jake Guentzel something very similar to the deal he ended up signing with Tampa Bay. The Vancouver Canucks are another team that was reported to have a ton of interest in Jake Guentzel, but after the Tampa Bay Lightning acquired his rights, I feel like the writing was kind of on the wall. Usually teams don't go out and do that unless they are very confident they're going to be able to get a deal done, and it would have just been very difficult for other teams to make a better offer than the offer Tampa Bay gave to Jake Guentzel. The opportunity to go and play with a guy in Nikita Kucherov who was a Hart Trophy finalist this season, and again, bringing up the fact that there is no state income tax in Florida, Jake Guentzel is going to be taking home a lot more money from his 9 mil a season in Tampa Bay than he would have took home if he signed this deal in Carolina or Vancouver. Moving on now to the next comment. This one came from Anya Wilt, who said Shawn Walker 4.75 mil. So this is the first one we got wrong so far. I took the over here. Shawn Walker ended up signing a 5-year deal with the Carolina Hurricanes worth $18 million, a cap hit of just 3.6 mil a season. I thought that Shawn Walker was going to be able to get at least 5 mil a season in free agency, so I was pretty shocked that he wasn't even able to get 4. In my opinion, Carolina signing Shawn Walker has been one of the best deals of free agency. I think they got fantastic value, especially when you look at what some other right shot defensemen signed for. If you were to tell me that Matt Dumba was going to get a higher cap hit per season than Shawn Walker, I would have said you are crazy. Next up, this comment came from Hugh Barkhurst, who said Brandon Montour $7 million. I took the over here, so we got this one right as well, but just barely, as Brandon Montour signed a 7-year deal with the Seattle Kraken worth around $50 million, a cap hit of a little over $7.14 million per season. I think we all expected Brandon Montour to sign a massive contract, whether it was in Florida or somewhere else. This is a guy who's only 1 year removed from a 16-goal, 73-point season in 2022-23. He also played a massive part in the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup this year. The only member of the Panthers who averaged more ice time than Montour throughout the playoffs was Gustav Forsling. Definitely quite a bit of risk involved when it comes to the deal Brandon Montour signed with Seattle. He's already 30 years old. That being said, I do feel like the fit of Montour in Seattle makes a ton of sense. The Kraken are a team that outside of Vince Dunn don't really get a whole lot of offensive production from the blue line. They were definitely in desperate need of a defenseman with the offensive capabilities that Brandon Montour has, a guy that can quarterback a power play. Moving on now to the next comment. This one came from Little Boomy, who said Patty Kane at 3 years, $4 million per. I do remember taking the over on the $4 million per season, which technically isn't correct yet because the deal Patrick Kane signed in Detroit, a 1-year deal, has a cap hit right now of $4 million. However, Patrick Kane can earn up to $2.5 million more in bonuses throughout the season, and these are bonuses that will actually count against the cap. Those bonuses are $1.5 million at 10 games played, so if he plays in 10 games, the cap hit goes from $4 million to $5.5. There's another bonus of $250,000 at 60 games played, $500,000 if Detroit makes the playoffs, and another $250,000 if Patrick Kane scores 60 points and the Red Wings make the playoffs. So there's potential that by the end of the season, Kane's cap hit with the Red Wings could be as high as $6.5 million. I'm pretty confident Patrick Kane is going to be able to hit at least one of those bonuses. The obvious one, 10 games played, a bonus of $1.5 million, so his cap hit will be $5.5 million. So I'm going to say we got this one right, even though it isn't official yet. The next comment we have came from Noah Clark, who said Jonathan Marchessault over under 6.5 million. I said over here, so we got this one wrong, as Marchessault ended up signing a 5-year deal with the Nashville Predators worth $27.5 million, a cap hit of $5.5 million per season. I thought Marchessault was going to sign for a deal similar to Joe Pavelski's first contract with Dallas in the range of 3 years, maybe $7 million a season, something around that, but it seems like Nashville decided to go with longer term lower cap hit as opposed to shorter term higher cap hit, and I believe that Marchessault is going to give Nashville fantastic value at $5.5 million a season for at least the first few years of this deal. He is 33. It's probably fair to assume that the final year or two of this contract might not look great, as Marchessault will be 37 and 38 by that point, but right now he's still playing at a very high level. He's coming off of a year in which he scored a career high 42 goals in 82 games. He was the Conn Smythe Trophy winner as playoffs MVP when Vegas won the Cup in 2023. This is a big time addition for Nashville, and I think they got Marchessault on a very reasonable contract as well. Moving on now, the next comment we had came from Hayden Hallett, who said Ilya Samsonov, $3 million. There are some teams in desperate need of a goalie, and based on his peak performances and age, I could see him getting around $3 million. We got this one right. I took the under here, and Samsonov ended up signing a 1-year deal with Vegas worth $1.8 million. After the kind of season Samsonov just had with the Leafs, I really just could not see a team willing to give him more than $3 million a season. Like Hayden said in this comment, his peak performances are really good, which we saw in his first season with the Leafs, but his lows are really low, which we saw this past season with the Leafs. So until Samsonov shows a bit of consistency from year to year, I can't see him getting a big money long-term deal. Next up, this comment came from Juice, who says Jonathan Drouin in Colorado, $3.25 million. We got this one right as well, as I did take the under, and Drouin ended up signing a 1-year deal with the Colorado Avalanche with a cap hit of $2.5 million. Really happy to see him stay in Colorado. I think it's the perfect situation for him. He's coming off of a season in which he finished with 19 goals in 79 games, which is the second highest goal total he's finished a season with in his entire career, and he put up a total of 56 points, which is a new career high. If Drouin is able to produce like that again for the Avalanche next season, he's going to put himself in a position to sign a pretty decent sized contract next summer, which I hope happens. Drouin is a guy that I'm always pulling for. Moving on now to the next comment. This one came from Default Nick, who said Tyler Bertuzzi, $4.25 million. We got this one right. I took the over here, and Tyler Bertuzzi did end up signing a 4-year, $22 million deal with the Blackhawks, a cap hit of $5.5 million per season. A signing that I really like for the Chicago Blackhawks. I think 4 years is the perfect amount of term. A team like Chicago who is still rebuilding, you don't want to lock yourself into massive 6-7 year deals that are going to age poorly. Bertuzzi is still only 29 years old. I think throughout this contract, he should be able to give the Chicago Blackhawks some really solid production in their top six. The next comment we have came from Drouin, who said over under DeBrusk 5.5 mil per. Hats off to you, because Jake DeBrusk ended up signing for exactly 5.5 mil a season with Vancouver on a 7-year deal. In the over under video, I did predict over 5.5 mil, but technically we didn't get this one right or wrong because you hit the nail on the head. And now finally finishing out the video with the last comment. This one came from Landon, who said Nikita Zadorov 5.75 mil per. I took the under on this one, so we got it right, as Zadorov signed a 6-year $30 million deal with the Boston Bruins, a cap hit of 5 mil a season. But I was so confident in taking the under here that I said if Zadorov signed for over 5.75 mil a season, I would come on here and saw off one of my fingers with a butter knife. So you could imagine I was pretty nervous when I saw news of Zadorov signing with Boston break and the AAV started with 5. I like Zadorov as a player, but I think 30 mil over the next 6 years is a massive gamble by the Bruins. Zadorov has done well throughout his career in a third pairing role, but based off of this contract the Bruins gave him, you have to imagine they plan on using him in a much bigger role, so we'll see how that plays out. So that is going to wrap up today's video, looking back at my over or under predictions for free agency. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you guys enjoy this format and you want to see more videos like this, then be sure to drop a like. It's the best way to let me know that you enjoyed, and it does help out the videos a ton. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all year round, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all again soon.